you have to think about all your hands and feet all the time. You can't put your foot there and then not think about it, because it'll start to drift around. You always got to have that attentive attitude to your hands.
Until everyone gets here. You know, your belayer should actually be paying enough attention that you don't have to tell them you're falling.
Is it, let's see, is it equalized? Between two pieces, it is.
Climber, and I'm going to yell up, "That's me!" That way he knows not to keep pulling on me. Now, so if I sketched out, I'm like, "Oh yeah!" Then drop that piece, right?
That slides back and forth.
I know how to tattoo with my
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, give me a chance.
And tied together as one, and they're pulling like that. But they have to pull like that to keep them in. The shorter legs are going to reach the limits of their stretching ability sooner, if that made any sense.
Now, I think you guys are going to have a lot of great information at the end of this weekend.
First question is, since he's got a loop that's tied off of double fisherman.
Like a sloth climbs, very slow, methodical. I can grab a hold, and as I start to put weight on it, it feels like my finger's starting to hurt, I can let go and stop.
But so that when you get to the belay, if you're leading, you can rack it the way you rack it. If you're gonna,
I gotta suck up this one. Then I gotta come over here and I gotta move these. Maybe this isn't where it needs. John Long's book lays it out, gives all the stats and all the testing they did.
Same process when it's extended out like this. Start with the cam. Flip this here. And if you can do that little trick that I told you guys, but sometimes it's hard to do one-handed, so you can just take this off, flip that to that carabiner. Not onto this cam, it just keeps it a lot more organized.
Actually, you know what? Stuff is awesome. Gives you a lot of cool.
Which means these will stretch, they will stop stretching, these two pieces will take the load, at which point these two outer pieces will continue to stretch. Another thing that people talk about is the direction of pull, the angle of pull. And I'm going to have to walk right past you there for a second. One of these two pairs in a top here to give you more power.
I get my knot kind of up and out of the way. I do a simple overhand. It's really handy for you sport climbers out there. And then I do another one. Doesn't really matter where they are. What it does, it leaves me these don't have that self-equalization. However, if this piece fails,
no shot.
All of this equipment that we use, all this stuff, all these cams, all these stoppers, this stuff is super strong. But that stopper is just, it's a big stopper, and it's just slotted and buried 6 inches back. Unless
I need to stick my feet in a little bit more, right? So I'm creating that L, that counter pressure. As I come around.
You're talking well over 4,000 pounds, approaching 5,000 pounds. All of this.
Palm down, thumb pointing towards you. 2 ways to finish this belay.
Somebody is top roping, and they move over. It's staying pretty tight.
you can actually just let that these two ends, and that's when I clip into my bolts. Now what I've done is I've created a little shelf right in here. Okay? What this allows me to do is it gives me a little bit of self-equalization, but it also, if one of these bolts happens to fail,
Your hand there slides downward. It's a little awkward with the arm though. However, when you break, it's a really comfortable break. You don't have to sit there and hold it. Tension on the rope, isn't it? Yeah, they can be parallel.
better you are. As soon as you take an open-handed hold like this and come up to it, it's going to be... So I have a few options, few ways I can traverse this thing. I could either just climb it straight in like this and just make little itsy-bitsy movements.
It's a cordelette, it's tied off, so it's kind of static. And then it's got these little knots down here, limiter knots, that limit the amount of self-equalization that can occur. So it's kind of the best of both worlds, if you will.
Best.
Yeah, so you're standing up. It's a little hard to use.
The gear isn't strong enough. The gear is strong enough. We don't know if the rock is. And we don't know...
Really, it's all about keeping your body position. As long as you're standing up pretty high, you have the flexibility to just kind of walk around the rock.
The problem is, it's not a huge problem. Again, there's all these rules. And what rules you adhere to, that's up to you. When you go climbing, how safe or unsafe you want to be, that's your business. And if your partners are telling you you're an idiot and they don't want to climb with you, okay.
This bolt pulls out, has this knot that acts as a load limiting knot and reduces the amount of extension.
Yeah. You don't want to put them both on the same strand. You can't. Then you got this. You place in canning devices like this.
I'll show you guys mantle. Namely, because I don't think it's a good idea for people to mantle on the slabs because you get in trouble. Here's what I don't want to see is, oh, okay, there we go.
Equalize, so he can probably show you real quick. The sliding X slides.
Just long enough to shake out that hand, get that mosquito out your face, whatever you need to do. There's a lot of different ways you can belay. But those are the fundamentals you must meet.
I know what those are. It's basically like a daisy chain, big long daisy chain. You can use that.
Recommending that
don't break up my little...
Kevin Powell
Everybody
says,
does it different, but I love
place
a
your
big
feet
block.
with your
Usually I
eyes.
break one of the big blocks. Straight up and down. The routes don't, you don't jump on a route right here. For starters, let me ask you this. How many pieces are in this anchor? Four. Does this anchor appear to be more or less equalized? Is the load more or less distributed equally? It would appear that way, right? As long as this doesn't move even a little bit. That one strand would probably end up, some knots end up being long.
To it, it's evening the
Yeah,
work
so
on
you're
both
not-
arms.
Yeah.
So maybe if you're belaying for long, the beginning of a top rope climbing system. So you guys are actually good where you are.
Clove hitch. Everybody know what that is? You have a lot of extension. And now it's shock loading those pieces.
So using your hips is really important. The more you turn in, if I turn my right hip in, I have more reach. If I turn my hip over here and I'm trying to get over here, what's happening to my reach?
Topic use of friction, I always have to eagle towel on it.
Yeah, you know, there's so many things.
This system will only equalize the load or distribute the load fairly evenly between two pieces at a time. Doesn't matter how many pieces you have in here and how many pieces you have connected it to, it will only equalize two at a time.
You want to end up with that twist. Just look at it. Here's my break. Climb. Okay, I know exactly where to put that in. That'll save that orientation mishap. Now that it's near tight under, then I don't have to sit there and lay it through.
But a lot of people read the new anchor book and said, that's it, I'm never using a cordelette again. Because they compared the cordelette to the equalette in a two-bolt scenario, or a two-piece anchor scenario.
You can use a setup normally that you don't have. However, if the climber falls, you need to be back and over here. Something like that. What it does is the load strand, which is going down to him, actually pushes down. It orients the device pulling up and actually pinches down on the brake string.
And look,
Techniques that you see the guy. You're getting your weight over.
What else gets locked?
Harness.
Harness, yeah.
And the loads that we take up the side of El Capitan are massive. You You want figure eights in here. You want a hard knot. You don't want something that might flip. You want a knot in there.
Forces that have to be generated for that to cut are pretty substantial. You need to.
That's what this anchor is made of, is these three pieces. And this one.
The edge of the climb is over by that rock. Got full adjustability. I can lean over.
Yep. And these are pre-threaded.
I'm typically an arm puller guy.
This is the best
We
one.
watch girls and always figure out how to do it.
Pretty good for a newbie.
Awesome.
Watch your feet.
Push them,
You're not looking at your
against
feet.
UCL.
There you go.
I can't put something like this in there. You know, we tend to like the big pieces, you know. You put some huge chunk of metal in a rock and go, oh, yeah, I can hang on that. That's awesome. No problem.
And you want to, when you come down, you want to do the same thing. Look for those.
One, your anchor is now a two-piece anchor. You need another piece. Four pieces.
Designer wire, too. Came from a special
Look
spring.
for the perfect little.
You can, and the reason why I'm picking my foot is these little pistol lifts get under your shoe. So either
Will potentially equalize the load between the two pieces. Instead of having it statically equalized between one, you've got it equalized between two. And if the load shifts at all, the load will stay on those two pieces.
And then when they go and they press, the metal has
stone.
Do this, but of course, if I'm here, that's pretty far away. But if I twist my body,
I'm just going to tell you guys right up front, this is a trick question. If one of these two pieces blows, how many are we left hanging on? It wasn't until I equalized them both that it held me. That's what I wanted to show you guys.
So what we do, we climb up to grab the thing, so the just going to step on it. So it allows us, once again, more mobile.
I've already done like this.